Welcome, 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 welcome. We have a Royal Rumble review. Review! Royal Rumble that just happened a couple of days ago. And I just want to give you my couple of thoughts on it. Obviously in no particular order. I won't try to keep this long-winded. I want to keep this maybe, short, to the point. Overall, I mean, the card had some, obviously some highs and some lows, you might say. Some things that, I liked, and other things that just kind of, I don't know. Didn't really know what to think of. But that's, it's been a pretty much a solid card to me. There weren't moments in the show where I was dozing off. I was coherent. I didn't take my pet rock for a walk, so I was all in with the pay-per-view. It didn't drag on, which is another thing there too. I don't know. So let's get into it. First match there. In no particular order. First thing to kind of comment on was the blackout. The blackout kind of a match that they had, LA Knight versus Bray Wyatt, and you really didn't even know what to honestly expect as to what would be going on. I don't think even or at least he wasn't letting on to it. Even LA Knight knew what to think of this match as he was doing interviews, press for it. And Bray Wyatt, one of Triple H's comebacks, brought him back. And you hear stuff, about Bray Wyatt being this insanely creative guy, really into his characters, and really protective of his, real protective of the story that is being told in the ring. And LA Knight, a good talker, man. Good talker. Got the then what do you expect for an individual that has been around for so long? I think he got, throughout the overall, you try to make it as even as possible leading up to this. But for the most part, I think we could say leading up to this encounter here, was getting the short end of the stick there, being bitched out by Uncle Howdy and various forces of the forces of the dark. And it's a glow in the dark match, basically. It's a no holds barred match without any lights. That would have been a simpler way to put it. Hey, listen, anytime you get a sponsor involved, WWE picks up a few extra bucks. Though Mountain Dew has been around for a very long time, I don't know why did they need the rub from the WWE if they've been around for so long. You know what I mean? Like, why does Mountain Dew need the rub from WWE? And if anything, it should be the other way around. Nonetheless, this match happened. LA Knight did have some offense here and there, but wasn't completely bitched out. But But for the most part, Bray Wyatt dominated. He had an appearance by Uncle Howdy, who jumps off of a scaffolding onto LA Knight, which was interesting. So not only do you get beat out by Bray Wyatt, you get beat out by Uncle Howdy. That's the thing. When you're facing a character like Bray Wyatt, how are you not supposed to be like, it's hard to make it even Steven. You know what I mean? If I'm explaining it the right way, which I'm probably not, go figure. It's hard to make it look even and, good at the same time. Where, Bray Wyatt and LA Knight, or both of them, or either one of them, don't look like schmucks. So you kind of feel like LA Knight looking like a little bit of the jabroni here, factoring in, what a Bray Wyatt match is. It's basically, storytelling and spooky stuff. And if you don't believe in spooky stuff, scary stuff, you might think that, LA Wyatt just looks plain silly. But I think LA Knight is okay. He might have a little bit of an egg on his face. I think he will move on from this feud. I think that's it. He'll move on from this feud. Kind of stick him with someone else. Hey, listen, if you recovered from Max Dupree, I think you could recover from an encounter with Bray Wyatt, if you know what I mean. LA Knight is able to talk. He has the look. Listen, if they didn't think that he had a chance or a clue, they wouldn't allow him to go back to being LA Knight. They would have just told him, yeah, listen, stick to being Max Dupree, right? With the maximum male models. So I think he has a future. And if he was even a baby face, just some nice catchphrases that he already has going for him. That you can see that the crowd is already starting to chant along with him. So the more and more you're going to see of LA Knight on your TV screen, I think you'll be fine. I think you're going to see more of LA Knight. And with Bray Wyatt, a lot of people were disappointed about this match. Listen, Bray Wyatt is about the storytelling. To get to this point, it took a lot of weeks before an actual wrestling. I think he wrestled on TV maybe once. Definitely not more than twice. And I'm not 100% on this. Maybe once he wrestled. Maybe he even didn't. Maybe I'm confusing that with house shows, house shows. Nonetheless, I think there was a little bit too much build into this angle. You might need a little bit more wrestling going forward to keep the people glued in. But listen, I'm glued into the story. I'm glued into the dynamic, and I'm glued in exactly what the relationship is. And is Bray Wyatt a person that we're supposed to root for? Is he a person that we're supposed to cheer for? I'm still intrigued by the story that Bray Wyatt, the Bray Wyatt story, is telling. So, Alexa Bliss versus Bianca Belair. Kind of, you've seen, this was a relatively quick match. Again, this is having to do with, I think what you're trying to do here is to develop a character here for Alexa Bliss, trying to create a character, similar to what she had when Bray Wyatt is around, but they're trying to mold it into a different way, because all the internet smart marks thinks that was the same character as Bray Wyatt, which it wasn't. It was a little bit different, but you could tell that the WWE still try to work on that character and try to make it a little bit more formidable. That's the way that Alexa Bliss is going. You have Uncle Howdy there, made another appearance. She's saying that she has nothing to do with Uncle Howdy, but there's Uncle Howdy. So it's a story that is developing as well. Bianca, I think we all predicted Bianca Belair to win, as she did. So as this is going on with Alexa, I don't know. It seems like Alexa might be a little bit kind of, just kind of going through the motions. Kind of, sort of, ever since she came back. There hasn't been much, I don't know. Like, I think Alexa definitely needs a change, okay? And whether the change is what they're going to give us, we're going to have to see. But I think Alexa Bliss just kind of has been there. The winner, as you expected, Bianca Belair, kind of sets up, later on for WrestleMania, which I think we're all going in this route, which I think will be a good card, but dealing with Bianca for WrestleMania, assuming she's still champion, which I think she will. But we'll get to that a little bit later. The actual men's Royal Rumble match, I liked. There was some very compelling stories throughout the match, or some moments rather, maybe would be a better word. I like Gunther. Remember when you guys were talking and complaining about a wrestling stage name, and Gunther definitely was made. Lasting, I believe, over 60 minutes. I think it was like I think it was like an hour and 10 minutes, I believe, in that match. Final 3, Final 4, I don't remember off the top of my head. But just a banger, just a brawler, just a brute. I think his stock went up. Can you see him being a heavyweight champion? I could see that kind of, assuming his mic work improves a little bit with a mouthpiece. I could definitely see that happening. He definitely, his stock definitely went up with his performance at Royal Rumble. That's a given for sure. We had Dominic Mysterio was in this match, and Dominic Mysterio, if I'm here making, praising Dominic Mysterio, you might be saying there might be some problems with the card, but no, hear me out. Dominic Mysterio, I think he came out number 18, right? And number 17 was supposed to be Rey Mysterio. Rey Mysterio does not come out. We don't know why, but number 18, out comes 18. Comes Rey Mysterio holding the 18 comes out Dominic Mysterio holding the mask of Rey Mysterio, and we put 2 and 2 together, and the kid knocked out the old man. The kid did a number on his pops. Right there. Just right there. Took out the old pops. Even though we don't see it, we're kind of like, insinuating it and, kind of led on to believe it by the announcers. That right there. He also plays, and he's in there for a while. The fact that he has this longevity, definitely over a half an hour, which is good for Dominic Mysterio, for a kid that they think is just really talks a lot of caca but can't back it up. And listen, for the most part, he hasn't backed it up. He was probably hiding behind mommy, which is what he's done magnificently. Played this chicken shit type of a guy, hiding behind mommy, hiding behind Rhea Ripley, or hiding behind Judgment Day. Poor Dom. Dom serving, did a couple of hours in the jail. He's a hardened criminal. No one knows what it is to go to jail, but Dominic does. Been perfect. Him being with the Judgment Day and being this chicken shit heel, especially how he played it out during the Royal Rumble. Awesome. Great. Going back to another key moment there for me. Brock Lesnar. Interaction with Gunther. Phenomenal. Amazing. A matchup that was, rumored early on. This is before when it, what as far as what WWE was planning for WrestleMania earlier on. Obviously card subject to change, but you've seen that interaction, and that's, that might be telling. Though we maybe won't have it here for a WrestleMania. It's just kind of getting the feelers out there. How would be the interaction between a Brock Lesnar and a Gunther? Love that interaction. Great interaction. Again, Gunther definitely rose up his stock. Brock Lesnar kicking ass like he normally does. And he is a draw in the WWE. So you kind of, expect him to be out there and just toss people around. But you expect, being that he is, a lot of people do come and see him. They want to see Brock Lesnar dominate, so you got to give the fans what they like. You see that? But I was also pleasantly surprised that he was taken out so earlier on. And that goes for Bobby Lashley as well. Being taken out early. I believe it might have been Gunther, right? Correct me if I'm wrong, that did take out Brock Lesnar. I could be wrong on that. Seeing Cody Rhodes come back to the Royal Rumble, and as Cody Rhodes won, and I think we kind of seen that coming, right? We'll see how the storyline plays out. We'll see how we're gonna get, we see how we're gonna get Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes to the dance together. As there is, other things to kind of tie up there, as far as the bloodline, Sami Zayn, so on and so forth. But listen, Cody Rhodes looked phenomenal. A lot of people say, "Oh, wow, it's 28. You already give him. He's gonna win. He was away." Listen, we all knew this was happening, and the reason why he was 28. Why couldn't you make him earlier? Why couldn't you make him like 10 or whatever? Listen, the reason why he was the last one to come in is he's coming off of injury. You just don't want to throw a Cody Rhodes out there, and and for him to get injured at all. So you don't want that happening. I think he looked great. You know, you've seen pictures floating backstage of Cody Rhodes with backstage was Ricky Starks. Guys, it's okay. It's okay to root for your friends that are in different companies. It's all right. Don't worry. Okay, you know, just. But if I remember correctly, the Highlanders were on Impact Wrestling, and then next week they were let go from WWE as they were in the audience. You might not want to do that nowadays, but again, this is different, day and age there. Yeah, Cody Rhodes. I mean, we'll see where this goes from. How they dance with each other here. It's the time to develop that storyline. Listen. Speaking of which, how funny was that when we were getting back the altercation? We were just getting into it. The altercation between Cody and Seth Rollins again, and out comes dude that we completely forgot about. We completely forgot about Logan Paul, who was in the WrestleMania, who's already recovered, and he knocks out Seth Rollins, which was comical because people wanted to see that. All that anticipation just chucks the guy out of there. Imagine Logan Paul winning. Logan Paul versus Roman Reigns, WrestleMania. Oh, would the fans be booing? But listen, for what it's worth, Logan Paul, what he did to get back, give Cody Rhodes credit, give Logan Paul credit as too. He had that moment where he collided in midair with Ricochet, which was boom. Whoa! If you go back to it, you hear the impact, you hear the collision happening in midair. Wow, insane. You could hate Logan Paul as much as you would like, but this guy is legit. He has taken to wrestling like a sponge, and some of the moves that he's able to do out there are insane for someone that has never wrestled before. Karrion Kross. I loved Karrion Kross, man, coming out, and listen, I know you gotta let, and I say this numerous times, you gotta let, said it before, you gotta, I guess, gotta let the wrestlers get their feet wet at times, right? For example, Jonah, right? Since he came back and was with the Miz for a little bit, Jonah hasn't really done much. Or Jonas hasn't done much. Dexter Lumis, who has a good look, hasn't really done much since his initial feud there. Johnny Gargano has just kind of been there, as well, but he was on. And that same thing kind of with Karrion Kross, man, right? So he has this, he had this opening feud against Drew McIntyre, right? And whatever happened. You had Clash at the Castle, right, where McIntyre goes over Karrion Kross. He beats him, right? Karrion Kross wasn't, he was a loser in that feud. We could say that. He lost. And then, he's at the Royal Rumble. Drew McIntyre comes in and just dunks Karrion Kross over with little or no resistance. Dunks him over. and out goes Mr. Karrion Kross. And again, I know, listen, he's on TV, let him get his feet wet, yada, yada, yada. But, it's just, maybe we could stick together a Karrion Kross and a Dexter Lumis together somehow and make him a threat, like, the psychotic a group, or have him with Bray Wyatt that just, cause destruction. Maybe I'm just panicking for my boys Dexter Lumis and Karrion Kross. But, there's gotta come a point where, I don't know, maybe things just have to pick up, right? Maybe give it time and we'll see what happens. Maybe that's the better way to take this. The Women's Royal Rumble match, Rhea Ripley, I think we all seen it coming, right? We all seen that it will be Rhea Ripley. I think that's what we were all, that's what we all had in our pools here. Rhea Ripley. You had a debut of Chelsea Green, which, people were kind of shitting. Oh, she just signed, goes into the match, and just as quickly as that is taken out of the match, right? Or just out of the match altogether. Listen, this is someone that the Triple H definitely wanted, right? She got let go, went to Impact, and they were chasing her, and they signed her. Probably going to see Zack Ryder as well soon, I would imagine. But don't take anything, just her being in the ring and then eliminated quickly. I think it's part of the work up to her character. And if you didn't watch WWE Digital after she was eliminated, it's on there. Chelsea Green. It's almost like she's playing a female, like a Karen type of a version, or a constantly complaining type, or like a female Karen, and it wouldn't make sense if that's what they're gonna use her. And you have to watch WWE Digital to see what I mean. So it would make sense. This would be like a good stepping stone, like a good basis for her character, right? Like a kind of like a C. So what can you tell me about Chelsea Green, her story? Well, see her Royal Rumble interview, nut job, case in point type of a deal, right? That'll be the basis. That'll be the starting point. So don't worry about Chelsea Green. You had come back as well. The name escapes me right now as we're speaking. Tamina's relative. Who was that? Besties with Alexa Bliss at one point. Work with me here. Former women's champ. Had a thing with Randy Orton. It was. We know who she is. The name will come to me. A larger woman. She's back. And listen. You say what you want, but intimidating, and she is intimidating. That's her whole thing right there. She could definitely throw some chicks around there and do some damage. Overall, I like the men's Rumble match a little bit better than the women's. Rhea Ripley, who she goes after, I don't know. I see it being going after Bianca Belair, honestly. Charlotte Flair maybe going after against a Becky again, kind of reliving that, and Ronda Rousey and that kind of trying to recreate that might be a little bit out of the question. Not every party might be willing to do that, but the magic that they created in that match was something that I think people would want to relive. That's just my 2 cents. Now, the main event here, man, riveting, right? The main event of Roman Reigns versus Kevin Owens, and this is storytelling 101, right? Our girlfriends, boyfriends, they might not watch wrestling, and they watch their soap operas. They watch Titanic and they cry. They watch Lassie and they cry. And what do chicks cry at now? Or any other sappy Hallmark movie, and they cry. Well, this is what we, as guys and females too, we cry. This is a common thing that we cry about. It's when they tug at our heartstrings. And that's what this storyline has done. It's tugged at our heartstrings from the very beginning. And this storyline, has been just brewing and going and going. And there's so many layers to it. Remember that the bloodline, how this plays in, maybe is there anything to this? I don't know. But just think of how the bloodline has formed, right? The bloodline formed with basically the Usos having to fall in line and conform. Form in line and conform. Jey Uso fall in line and he conformed. Jimmy fell in line and he conformed. Kind of, almost if you think about it, kind of your voice in the matter was cut. You were shut down. You were told no. Do it or else. They were held captive, in a sense. They're captive. They're in there because Roman Reigns is the head of the table. And he feeds Jimmy and Jay's family as well, because he's head of the table. You remember that? And then it kind of, once they formed, it kind of shifted. And they made you kind of forget about how this group initially formed. And I think we should be remembering that now, going forward, because some of that stuff might be brought up to the forefront here, as it looks like the bloodline, the Roman Empire, is unraveling. When Sammy struck Roman Reigns, the look on Roman Reigns' face was he was having post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, from the time that he was hit in the back by Seth Rollins when the Shield disbanded. Took you to that stage. His emotions from being Chala to on the verge of trying to do evil things. He goes from 0 to 100 very quickly. And there you go. Sami Zayn could not do another nail into the coffin of his lifelong friend Kevin Owens, though 3 weeks before, he had no problem giving you the old nut shot Sami Zayn will do anything for love, but he won't do that. He drew a line. Wasn't gonna hit his friend in the skull with a chair. His lifelong friend, his friend that he has traveled the Indies up and down with. He said enough is enough. And Jay walks out. And then, walks out of the ring. You see, out of the bloodline. Walks out of the ring. Wipes his hand clean of it. And the family just attack him. Attack him. So, because Kevin Owens showed, because Sami Zayn showed a little bit of compassion, that was the beginning of the end for Sami Zayn. They no longer trust him. Right? And they wanted to push him. And because they don't trust him. And that's why we're here. The Honorary Uce. Now, what happens next? Can Sami Zayn, is this movement similar to, the Yes movement from years ago? I don't think, honestly, it's at that point at all. I don't think it is. And for some reason, listen, folks, jump in. There's going to be a lot of storytelling to go still. There's still a lot of pieces that I think will be tied together here in the storyline. But this is a storyline that's riveting, keeps you on the edge of its sheet. And remember from when we heard of Uzi, or when we thought weeks ago that Sami Zayn would be, kicked out of the bloodline, they made him an honorary Uce. You were on the edge of your seat then. Now you're at the edge of your seat now. That blow to the back of the tribal chief. What will happen? What will be the consequences? Is it that simple where Sami Zayn will be just leaves? I don't think it's that simple. I think maybe Roman Reigns will try to whisper in his ear and make him, I don't know. So many ways to go with this. But, the Royal Rumble was definitely a good show, man. Definitely had its points. I like the main event, which I think everyone turned into. I could have, done away with, honestly, the Bianca and Alexa Bliss match. I get it why it was relatively short, because of the other card being relatively long. The matches being relatively long. So I get why we're there. But again, a great pay-per-view. Good pay-per-view. Definitely go watch it. I hope all is well. Look forward to speaking to you guys very, very soon.